Oki, Dadanastada, Umbawastich, Tanse, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined today by General Manager of Infrastructure Services, Michael Thompson. I want to start by expressing my gratitude to the many media partners who are here today and those who joined us on Wednesday for taking the time to broadcast the information that we provided on the maintenance and repair work that is needed on the Bearspaw South feeder main. I appreciate that you have all used your various channels to get the message out to the public and help them be more informed. Your stories have also covered other recent events, like the evacuation of Jasper residents and visitors, as well as recent hailstorms in our area. I want to reiterate how much kindness and compassion lives within the Calgary region, as I've been watching locals assist those who have been coming to our city from Jasper, as well as the rallying of neighbors checking in on each other after Monday's hailstorm in North Calgary, as well as surrounding municipalities. There's a strength of character that exists in our city and our region, and that speaks volumes to why we were able to get through the catastrophic feeder main break on June the 5th. And it's also why I have faith that we will similarly address the maintenance and repair work before us by banding together once again as a community. On Wednesday, when we provided you with a massive amount of information based on the results of the pipe diver analysis, I told you that I understood it was a lot to take in. I felt the same way when I was offered a briefing by administration earlier. There is a lot to process about 16 sites along the feeder main that need to be strengthened, and that we will once again have to impact businesses and residents in the areas of Bowness and Montgomery for the maintenance work, and that we will, throughout Calgary, Strathmore, Tsuut'ina Nation, Chestermere, and Airdrie, have to start conserving water once again when we turn off the Bearspaw feeder main for repairs. Now, I understand that we are expecting you to not only take in a great deal of information, but also to prepare for more outdoor water restrictions and indoor water reductions. So I'd like to point out why that's so important. We have reliable information from the pipe diver analysis that tells us that maintenance work is needed in those 16 spots of the Bearspaw South feeder main. The pipe diver results are part of the ongoing monitoring that the city has been doing of the water system. Maintenance and repair plans for short, medium, and long term have all been coming from the monitoring. That includes acoustic sensors, the robotic analysis that was done back in June, as well as the pipe diver results. The work that we have planned from August 26th to September the 23rd allows us to create a solution that will keep the Bearspaw feeder main functioning for the near term. Strengthening the pipe with exterior concrete reinforcement is the best way forward at this time. For future, the water and infrastructure teams have identified that spring maintenance could add further reinforcement through the installation of a liner or a sleeve in that pipe. Engineering teams are also looking at constructing a new replacement pipe alongside the existing one. These are all options that are being considered. For the longer term, we are already in the design phase for a north feeder main from the Bearspaw facility, and we are in the planning phases for another south feeder main from the same location. This offers us greater redundancy. And in addition to these pipes, we are also expanding the Bearspaw facility to accommodate the increasing population growth that we continue to see. There is more to do to ensure that our water network remains strong, and the immediate work that we are undertaking is an important step towards those long-range plans. We absolutely understand that there is a great deal of inconvenience involved in this, and we are weighing this against the need to ensure that we don't face another failure and we don't face running out of water. As we approach the August 26th start date for this maintenance work, city teams are actively engaged with businesses and residents who will be directly impacted. Yesterday, I was able to join the team for a short time as they went about speaking with 45 businesses in Montgomery, and they door-knocked 100 homes along 33rd Avenue. These folks will continue to be updated and engaged as the construction and traffic rerouting plans are finalized. Now, because we can actually plan for this work this time, we're better able to build and communicate the steps along the way that will make the Bearspaw feeder main stronger. With that, I'm going to ask General Manager Thompson to provide you with some more details about this work.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mayor. We recognize that we shared a lot of information with you on Wednesday, and now that you've had some time to process, we expect there will be a lot of questions. Today, I'll provide a brief recap of what we shared on Wednesday, answer some common questions we have been receiving, and take additional questions from the media. It's important that there are still things we can't confirm yet because planning is still underway. We wanted to let you know what we know early, providing you with as much lead notice as we can. This allows us to involve Calgarians in the planning process for these repairs. While we are working hard to finalize the locations of the repair sites, we are also actively in the planning process for the repairs. And we have not yet finalized what road closures will be required and what staging areas will be required. These plans and details are important as they drive what the specific impacts will be to residents and businesses during these repairs. As Mayor Gondek said, we are taking this time to thoughtfully plan the repair work to minimize impacts as much as possible to residents and businesses. We know that this work will be disruptive, and we want to do everything we can to minimize this disruption for you. We are working to finalize the specific information on the repairs, and we'll share it with you as soon as we are able to. On Wednesday, I shared what we know right now. At the start of July, we used a device called a pipe diver to inspect the entire 10.4 kilometers of the Bears Paw South feeder main. At the end of July, we started to get preliminary data back from the pipe diver, and the teams are continuing to analyze this data. We identified a number of areas along 33rd Avenue which require urgent repair within the next few weeks to reduce the risk of another break in the pipe in the near term. In order to repair these areas, we will need to stop the flow of water through the Bears Paw South feeder main. While we have the flow of water stopped, we are going to complete some of the medium-term rehabilitation plans along 16th Avenue. We are currently estimating 16 sections of pipe which need to be repaired, but as we are still finalizing the analysis, this number may change. Unfortunately, this means that during the repair period, we need a temporary return to Stage 4 outdoor water restrictions, and we will be asking Calgarians to once again limit their indoor water use. It is critical to make the repairs within a specific time frame to ensure we can maintain Calgary's water supply through the winter. This return to Stage 4 outdoor water restrictions and indoor water conservation will begin on August 26th and run through most of September. Until repairs start on August 26th, we will stay under Stage 1 water restrictions. We know that this work and the restrictions impact all Calgarians in different ways. We've been out in the communities where the repair work will be undertaken to start speaking with residents and businesses, as we know our repair work will be along a section of 33rd Avenue Northwest, 16th Avenue Northwest, and Parkdale Boulevard. As you heard, yesterday we knocked on more than 100 doors of residents to share what we know about the upcoming repair work. As the mayor indicated, we also talked to 45 businesses about the upcoming repair work. We have committed to residents and businesses in the impacted areas that when we know more details about the specific repair locations, required road closures, or any further impacts, we will share this with them and with you. Next week, you will see us marking the location of the feeder main with paint on the roadways, as well as locating all other utilities in the area and having them marked out. We've also been actively reaching out to regional partners, industry, and large customers to provide clarity on what Stage 4 outdoor watering restrictions mean for them and how we are supporting them. We understand that these restrictions will have some significant impacts, especially on certain industries, and we appreciate your understanding and ongoing cooperation as we prepare to sustain a 25% reduction in water use citywide starting later this month. I've been asked previously and again recently about why we didn't have a plan for this pipe, and I'd like to share that answer again with you, as it's important for Calgarians to know we take a planned approach. The most recent maintenance work on this pipe happened in the spring of 2024, including replacement of air valves and the installation of an acoustic monitoring device. Several test shutdowns were undertaken in the winter of 2023 and spring of 2024 in preparation for a full condition assessment and inspection, which was planned for later this fall and winter. I've also been asked how much of the specific pipe we have in the system. This pipe is 10.4 kilometers in length and is the only length of this specific specification of pipe in our system. We do have other specifications of pre-stressed concrete cylindrical pipe in the system. In total, we have 187 kilometers in our system. If you go to calgary.ca, in the FAQ section, we have a graphic showing the breakdown of what Calgary's pipes are made of. Over the more than 5,000 kilometers of pipe in our water distribution system, the majority of it is made up of polymer pipe, and only 3% is made up of pre-stressed concrete cylindrical pipe. Throughout this situation, we have learned a lot about the pipe, and as I have shared before, we know we will need a medium and long-term rehabilitation plan. As the Mayor indicated, we're looking at a number of options, including replacing individual segments of pipe, externally reinforcing segments of pipe, installing a liner through the pipe, and constructing a new pipe adjacent to this existing pipe. Work continues on those plans, and I'll share more when it's available. In addition, we are already working to improve the redundancy of our system and support the growth of the city. We're currently in the design phase of the North Feeder Main and plan to start construction next year. This project will be delivered in phases in the coming years. In addition to the North Feeder Main, we are also in the planning phase for a new South Calgary Feeder Main. Both projects will be delivered over the next 8 years and will significantly improve the redundancy of the water system. Redundancy is important as it allows us to take the existing feeder main out of service while limiting the impacts to Calgarians and our customers. This is all with the overall goal of ensuring we can continue to provide Calgarians with clean and safe drinking water and to meet the needs of our growing city. Another common question we've been hearing is, if we're not cutting into the pipe and instead just reinforcing existing pieces with rebar and concrete, why does the water need to be turned off? While the pipe is in service, it is moving significant volumes of water. Even with the current reduced flow through the pipe, it still transports approximately 200 million liters of water a day. If the pipe is exposed while operating, there's a high risk it could break, and that could pose a serious safety risk for our crews doing the repairs. Similar to how we needed to backfill the previous repair areas before repressurizing, we need to depressurize the pipe to start any repair work, regardless of the repair type. I want to let you know that we are committed to getting the required repairs completed, and we will be working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to minimize the impacts on Calgarians, businesses, and our regional partners so we can keep water flowing safely to you. I want to thank Calgarians, businesses, and our regional partners for your patience and assistance as we work through this situation. We will be providing regular updates as we get closer to the construction start and through the duration of the work. I will be back with another media availability on Tuesday and then Thursday of next week. And as always, if there's urgent news to share in the interim, we will come to you as soon as possible. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to the Mayor.
Thank you very much, Michael. As Jeanne Thompson has just said, over the next week and likely the next 2 weeks, General Manager Thompson and his team will connect with you on Tuesdays and Thursdays to share progress on repair and construction plans, as well as any changes that can be anticipated to traffic. They will also be able to answer any technical questions, and they'll provide updates on their meetings with the various businesses that they've connected with. And as GM Thompson has indicated, you will start to see paint on the roadways that will be the sites where construction will take place, where the repairs will be happening. And along with that, you can expect to get any updates, as General Manager Thompson said, that need to come to you in a timely manner. And I'll just stress one more thing that was in General Manager Thompson's remarks. It will take time to create the type of redundancy we need. You can see that we have design and planning phases started for 2 more feeder mains. It will take time to get those built. It will also take time to expand the Bears Paw treatment facility. In that time, we need to make sure that what we have in the ground that is existing is strong and secure and able to take us to that point of adding 2 more feeder mains and expanding that treatment facility. That's the reason we are doing this repair and maintenance work now. We're doing it in a planned manner to ensure you're all aware of what will take place between August 26th and September the 23rd. And with that, I will turn things over to Adam to field any questions from the media.
Okay, folks, we'll start with one question, one follow-up to start, and then subsequent rounds. Megan,
Sure. I mean, the biggest difference between June and now is that we have this leeway. We have 3 weeks before the work starts. What are some of the lessons learned from June that you're applying to this while working with residents and businesses to mitigate that impact?
I think there's a lot of lessons that we learned, and one of them is to be better communicators. We were caught pretty flat-footed on June the 5th when this pipe broke, and we had to respond very quickly to figure out what we were going to do to fix it. And informing the teams that had to look at how we would do the repair work on that piece of pipe, we were not as quick at getting the information out to the public as we needed to be. And I made a commitment to you that we would get better at that. This is what we're attempting to do this time around. We've given people 3 weeks of a heads up to know that this maintenance work will be coming, and we are working through these next 3 weeks to ensure that we are answering questions and helping you get prepared in the best way possible.
Touching on the communication, what does that communication plan look like first with Calgary as a whole, but then also specifically the residents living along 33rd Avenue who are wondering when they'll be impacted and to what extent they can expect their road dug up?
I think General Manager Thompson can expand on what the plans are for connecting with residents and businesses, but I can tell you that things started on Wednesday with the information being put out through a broadcast and a question and answer period with the media. From there, we made sure all social media outlets were used, and we made sure that the website was updated. Yesterday, city crews were on the ground speaking with businesses as well as members of the community who will see construction in front of their homes. GM Thompson, perhaps you can weigh in on more.
Yeah, thanks. I think the mayor hit on a lot of it. I'd also add in that on Wednesday and Thursday, we reached out to business organizations and associations across a number of fields that we had talked to previously. And we've engaged them specifically to talk about issues and impacts that they may experience during stage 4 restrictions. We've set up additional meetings for next week to follow up, and we're putting out more information. So we're taking all of those lessons learned with respect to our customers from the last couple of months and applying it going forward. And I'll say one additional piece is we talked a lot last time about how we learned to move water differently in the system. We turned pumps around differently so that we could really try and maximize the amount of water we can move through the system. We're taking all of those lessons learned and applying it right at the start this time. So we're in a much better spot this time at the start.
Phoenix from City News. Mr. Thompson, a question for you. The C301E pipes have indeed lost structural integrity. What is your team looking at in terms of cause and effect? Is soil consideration?
Thanks for the question. So really the question was around what are some of the root causes of the impacts of this pipe, and we're still working through that. And so we've got some consultants that we've engaged who are doing analysis on both the soil, the pipe, the reinforcing wire, and looking at all aspects as we try and determine what was the root cause of the loss of structural integrity of this pipe. And we're using all of that information to figure out what that root cause was.
Mr. Thompson, the mayor also mentioned this morning that a possible liner or sleeve is being considered. If so, what effect would that have on the actual pipe and possibly the flow of water if that actually did happen?
So the question was really around what some of those medium and long-term rehabilitation plans that we've been talking about for a number of weeks are. And so as I've said before, we're looking at a number of options. One option includes placing a liner within the pipe. If we have to place a liner within the pipe, we would have to take the pipe out of service, likely next spring, and then push that liner through the pipe So that's one option we're looking at. We're also looking at installing a brand new pipe adjacent to the existing pipe. So we're looking at a number of options. We'll do that analysis of what the best option to complete for that medium and long-term rehabilitation plan will be, and we'll be back to you with more information on that when we do know more.
So this pipe diver analysis was done July 26th, right? Just wanted to confirm.
Pipe Diver itself went through the system in early July. We started to get data back on July 26th. We're still analyzing the data with the consultants.
Presumably we know the locations of the 16 spots, right? How do we not know which roads are being closed, which detours are being closed? I think a lot of people in the neighborhoods are really frustrated right now. They have no information on where their commute's going to be impacted. And I feel like it's really unreasonable that the city hasn't provided that information.
Yes, the question is really around timing, how long it takes to get data back from a pipe diver inspection. So typically this would take months to get the data back from the pipe diver inspection, to analyze it, and to come up with a plan. We've been turning that information around within weeks. And so as soon as we started to realize that there were some significant issues along 33rd Avenue, we came out to let Calgarians know about that. We're still finalizing the analysis of that information. We'll be out with more details in the coming days around where those locations are. It's not just the locations of the pipes that need to be repaired themselves, but also the construction access. So how do we get in and out of those areas? Where do we stage equipment and crews? And so we want to make sure that we understand all of that, and that we're working with residents to really try and minimize the impacts to residents on 33rd Avenue, as well as businesses on 16th Avenue. We know Calgarians want more information. We want to get more information to you as well. We felt it was critical to get out this week and start to share this information with you so you could plan, and we'll be out in the coming days with more information.
I'm just going to add something to that. Yeah, I think another important element here is listening to the people who live in these areas and the people who work in these areas. So when we have spoken with the business improvement area leads, and we've spoken with the community association, as well as the residents that live on 33rd, they have many insights as to what it was like to go through this in June. And the types of things that they are offering us will inform exactly how we reroute traffic. And we need to talk to the schools that are going to be impacted in the area. So you can see that there are a lot of people who have lived experience, firsthand experience in that area. And I think it would be irresponsible for us to come up with a plan that didn't include their voices. That's why we're engaging with them now before we come back to you and say, these are the roads that will be closed. This is how the construction will happen. And let's remember, too, that along a stretch of 33rd, there are folks that need access to their front sidewalk and a portion of the front road. So the crews are going to have to consider how they dig up that road to still provide that access. These things take time, and we don't want to do it without the voices of the people who are involved.
Is there a specific date, maybe next week, where you can have a goal of setting that information out so people might know? And what is the excavation work going to look like? Is it going to be digging up the roads, the curbs, the sidewalks? I think people are concerned about just kind of the infrastructure around their house as well.
Yes, the question's really on an exact date for when we'll have more information, and we don't have a specific date yet. We're going to be sharing information as it becomes available. I've committed that I'll be here Tuesday and Thursday next week with you to share the information we have and to take any questions that come up. With respect to what it will look like in front of people's homes, again, we'll be excavating the pipe. It's a large pipe, 1.95 meters in diameter. It's the same size that you will have seen in the photos previously from the 5 hotspots in the original pipe break. We're going to excavate down to that, put reinforcing steel around it, form up and pour concrete into it. And so it will be a large excavation along 33rd Avenue. The specific details are all based on part of the planning work that we have to do, and that's the work that we've started, and that's why you'll start to see paint markings on 33rd Avenue and 16th Avenue next week as we survey out where that location is, and we mark out some of those other utilities in the area that we'll probably be working around.
For Madam Mayor. So Mr. Thompson mentioned a few moments ago that 10.4 kilometers is basically the pipe that is affected here, or the water main feed, the C301E pipe, which is approximately 3 kilometers of the 187 kilometers of stretch of pipeline to be replaced. Estimates for replacing the entire pipe, some experts who have previously worked for the city have said just replacing the entire 10.4 kilometers would cost somewhere in the range of $150 million. Is this something that the city is looking at considering the numbers? Is this a possible option in terms of considerations that Mr. Thompson has said a few times?
I appreciate the fact that there are folks who used to work in this city that are weighing in on this situation, and they're offering their best estimate of what we should do, how much it might cost, the type of time that it would take. I'm very interested in working with existing teams who have the experience with what happened on June the 5th. I'm also very interested in working with the private sector who has been alongside with us, the contractors, the heavy equipment folks, the advisory groups that we have pulled together who have been through an experience like this in other fields. I'm relying on their current information to provide us with a really good understanding of what we need to do moving forward, and then we would be able to cost it out in today's dollars in a way that is probably a bit more relevant to what we're trying to accomplish.
So just to understand, the replacement of the entire pipe is a consideration, or it's not on the table right now?
As General Manager Thompson indicated, one of the things that is being explored by the engineers right now is to see if we could do a replacement pipe that is adjacent to the one that we are seeing problems with.
Question from Coast Media. The new feeder mains you're planning and there's called treatment plant expansion. Did they come up with this after the June 5th emergency, or was this planned beforehand?
I can have General Manager Thompson go into more detail, but I can tell you that we're in the actual design phase of the north feeder main, and we're in the planning phases of the south feeder main. These are projects that have been on the books for some time, and I'll let you elaborate.
Yeah, thanks very much. As the mayor said, the question was around the north feeder main, the south feeder main, the new north feeder main and new south feeder main, and the expansion at the Bears Paw water treatment plant. And if we've been planning those for some time now, and the answer is yes. So we have been planning those. As the mayor said, we're currently in the design phase for the north feeder main project, and we'll be starting construction on it next year. These were projects that we always knew we needed to do for a growth and a redundancy perspective. Before this incident happened, I was sitting down with the teams, looking at these specific projects, talking about how we were going to deliver them and the redundancy that it would bring to our system once they were in place. And so it was work that was already underway. We are going to be advancing some of that work, obviously, after this situation, to try and have more redundancy in place as soon as possible. And I can say, I was even having conversations on the specific projects this morning with the team to try and advance them as quickly as possible.
Follow-up. Did the previous tests and analysis conducted before the rupture reveal under the city anticipate feeder main break or any similar damage in 2003 and early 2024 before the very first?
So I think the question was really around, were we expecting this level of impact to this feeder main prior to the original pipe break on June the 5th? And the answer is no. We did not expect to find this level of structural weakness in the pipe prior to that initial rupture on June 5th, which gave us an opportunity to use that robotic inspection tool to go and inspect just over 4 kilometers of pipe which had been drained. And following that, once we had the pipe back in service, we used the pipe diver to inspect 10.4 kilometers of this pipe. It's interesting because we were planning to do that inspection this fall and winter. And if we had got that data back this fall or winter, we would have been in a much worse position because we would have had limited flows coming into the Glenmore Reservoir. So getting that information now, well, I know it's frustrating for you and frustrating for us. We're in a better position so that we can tackle those repairs in August and September while we still have good water flows.
Any other questions? Thanks so much, folks. As you know, we've got another one of these at 2 o'clock on Tuesday.